welcome to our farm.
So this is a pretty good recipe. It's not really strong in seasonings, and my family kind of likes it that way. So um, we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to show you some things that you're going to need to do this with. Um, I just buy deep dish pie shells, and also I'm not the greatest at making pie crusts. Maybe someday I'll really learn how to do it really well, like my mother did. But anyway, for now, it's quick and easy, and my family doesn't care for pie crust anyway. So this is what we're going to use today, and it does need to be a deep dish, remember. And then this recipe makes a little bit extra, and I really don't mind that too awful much. We're going to put the extra in this little baked dish and bake it not as long as the regular pie. So, but what I was going to say is that it's good to have a little bit of extra, because so many people are gluten intolerant today that pumpkin pie is something that you can make for them if you just don't use the crust. So that's kind of a good thing. This is what I eat to kind of get away from the gluten and the crust. So I do put some shortening on the inside of the dish that you're going to bake the extra in. That's my oven. It's ready to go, so we better get going. Anyway, I'm going to use a dish today that, or a bowl instead of my mixer, but really honestly, you can use your mixer and it'll be just fine. So the recipe today, you're going to need 2 eggs, and I use a 15-ounce can of pumpkin, and of course I like organic if I can find it. So then I need a 12-ounce can of evaporated milk, and 3/4 of a cup of sugar. And I like to put my sugar in a container that allows for me to put the spices in. So then we're going to need half a teaspoon of salt. And I've already got that pre-measured, so I'm going to dump that in my sugar. And then also we're going to need 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. So I'm going to put that in my sugar. And the ginger, 1/2 teaspoon of ginger. And when I was teaching my 2 girls to cook, I told them, you know, measurements don't have to be exact except for salt. So when you measure the salt, make sure you don't get too much. Too little is a lot better than too much salt. Salt's one thing that can ruin your cooking, so be careful with that. And then 1/4 of a teaspoon of nutmeg. You can also use cloves in this, but honestly, I don't care too awful much for cloves, so I don't use that in my cooking. So I'm going to go ahead and put this in here. And then I'm going to just quickly stir it in my sugar. The reason I do this is sometimes I found out if you just dump the cinnamon and the spices in the pumpkin egg mixture that we're going to be making here real quick, it just doesn't get mixed up real well. So this is how I try to get the cinnamon. Has little clumps sometimes, and you really don't want to bite a clump of cinnamon. So we'll just mix that up here real quick and push all those clumps to the side to get rid of them. So that's pretty good. All right. So then let's go ahead and get our sugar mixture done. So So let's go ahead and break our eggs. And I always like to break them in a bowl to make sure that we don't get shells in our food. So I'm going to go ahead and break those real quick. These are like farm-raised eggs. I love the color. I turn my chickens out and let them peck around and do their thing outside, and they get all kinds of bugs and minerals and things that they like. So it makes their eggs really, really nice and orange. Someday maybe we'll make some homemade noodles. You can let me know if you're interested in that, because they are wonderful in our chicken broth. So anyway, there's a couple eggs. So I'm going to beat those up a little bit, just until they all get blended together. It's a little bit noisy, isn't it? So we'll get that all done here. Then we're going to put the pumpkin in. And I've already got it open, so save a little time. Because honestly, pumpkin pie is like, it can be so fast to make. The trick is to have your sugar and those seasonings mixed together ahead of time. And one of the things that I've done is, like, when I make one, I make seasonings for two, because it's just as easy. And stick them in a little plastic bag and have them ready for next time. Or you could go take a look at my Facebook page, and I have kind of just getting started, but I've got a pamphlet there that I have some pumpkin pie mix that I've made up to make it go easy, fast, and quick for you. If you'd like to buy that pumpkin pie mix, it's there if you're interested. So we're gonna get this. I'm sorry, I love to get every drop out of these cans because waste not, want not, right? So that's one of my pet peeves, is not leaving stuff in the bowls or the cans, because I don't like to waste things. So, okay, the next thing that we're going to do is, well, actually, what we need to do is beat this pumpkin and egg together. I'll kind of show you here what I've got. So we're going to just beat the pumpkin and the egg together. Make sure it's mixed up really well. Okay, that's pretty good. Then we're going to add the sugar and the seasonings that we have, because we've made sure that all of the lumps are out of it pretty well, and it should mix up really nicely now. I don't sneeze with all those spices. All right. There, that looks pretty good. Okay, now we're going to add our evaporated milk. I kind of meant to set the timer to see how fast we could do this, because time is money, right? Time, nobody has enough time. So, but this really is a quick and pretty healthy dessert as far as the amount of sugar in it. It's just got 3/4 of a cup of sugar, and then you have your pumpkin and your milk, so not too bad. Honestly, I haven't added up how many calories are in each slice, but not as bad as some things. So anyway, okay, so we got this all mixed up, and guess what? We are ready to put it in our pie shell. So I'm going to move a couple things here, and we're going to do that. All right. So this out of here. This ready. Just gently pull this off. I'm sure you've worked with these before, but anyway, all right. Over here. Okay, get my handy dandy spatula here, so we don't waste any of this. Let's get our little bowl here for extra. So I'm just going to carefully make sure you can see this. Carefully kind of pour this in here. And I like to pour it close to the top because, like I said, my family doesn't really care for crust too awful much, but you don't want to overfill it. So you kind of got to watch out for that. Okay. Then we're going to fill the other one. And like I said, I've already greased this and put some shortening around it. So if you don't do that, it won't come out very well. It'll kind of stick to the sides. So kind of does anyway, but it's a good idea to do that. I'm gonna get that all in there. Like I said, I hate to waste things, so here we go. We're gonna get the last drops out of there. Okay. I just thought I would show you the pumpkin pie as it is now. It's still got like 10 minutes left, and it is definitely, you can see how it shakes. That is definitely not done. So we will we'll let it bake a little bit more, and I just thought I'd show you the process. So sometimes it's hard to tell when a pie is done. So we'll make sure that that we show how it's tested for doneness. Okay, it's baked another 5 minutes, and I want to show you how it's jiggles. So the middle is still not solid. So we're going to bake it another 5 minutes and take a look at it then. Okay, I've taken the pie out again, and from experience I can tell you that it's not done. It is wiggling a little bit, still in the middle, but not as much. But what I wanted to show you is I've got my knife and water, and I want to just show you how it comes out when it's not done. You can see both sides have batter on it. So we're going to stick that back in the oven and give it another maybe 5 minutes. 5 minutes is a good time to just check it and see how it's doing. It probably won't get overdone, and it'll still have a chance to cook a little bit. So that's why I'm doing 5-minute intervals. Okay, we've taken it out for another time, and let's take a look at what's going on with it. It is not shaking in the middle. So that's the first thing before you stick your knife in. It really needs to be sure that it's not shaking in the middle. Otherwise, you know it's not done. So this is the next test then. Let's see what happens. Ah, there you go. That is how it's supposed to come out clean. So our pie is done. I just wanted to show you a picture here. I hope I can do this and pick it up for you. I want to show you this beautiful pumpkin pie that we made. I hope yours turned out so nicely. If you decided to try it, and let me know how you enjoyed my recipe. I look forward to hearing from you. If you like this video, I love cooking with you. So if you like this video, subscribe, and I'll be doing more. I love to cook. And I'm going to be making cranberry salad that I kind of made up the recipe, but it turned out pretty good. So I'm going to make that for our Thanksgiving. So you might want to check that video out. And until next time, happy Thanksgiving. And I'll look forward to being with you again sometime. Thanks.